Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Sleepover. I'm your host, Charlie, and today we are joined by Victoria, our repeat guest, who loves to be a repeat guest.
I do love to be a repeat guest. I am what I like to call a series regular, but a guest regular.
A regular guest?
A regular guest.
Hey! How was your week so far?
My week so far was so long and so busy, but so good.
I guess we should probably tell everybody that we're in real life together.
We are in real life together. We are in the same room, same space. My knee was touching you a total of 2 seconds ago. So part of my very long week was driving 11 and a half hours to West Arkansas. Across the entire state.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that happened.
So Victoria is here to visit because our parents came to town, so it was convenient time for her to kill two birds with one stone and get more than one visit.
Get a bunch of visits in one shot. So we road tripped here, me and my dog, and I think that So 11 hours doesn't seem like a long time, really, until like the last 2.5 hours. And then it seems like it takes a century to finish that last little bit.
Yeah.
But Arkansas is a really pretty state. I drove through Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Arkansas to get to West Arkansas. And Arkansas is so pretty. It's a horse state. There's horses everywhere.
Yeah, she's like, I decided that you live in the horse South. Okay. You want to explain what the horse South is?
I stand by this statement, right? So, if you're a
words,
if you are a consistent listener of the podcast, you know I live in Georgia. Georgia is the true South. Like, it is South. It's like Alabama South. And I am going to admit that I am geographically challenged. And I did not know where Arkansas was located. I thought it was like above Tennessee and like the true Midwest. For those of you who are also geographically challenged, it isn't. It is a southern state, apparently. It touches Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So I'm like, okay, but it's not really a southern state because it's the Midwest. Like, in my head, it's the Midwest. And I still stand by this, but this is what makes it a southern horse state. Because if you go to, like, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, it is like the South. It is a little it's dirty. There's like, it's like what you would think of as like this is gonna sound so bad, like the cow South. Like, it's dirty and muddy and gross. And then you come to Arkansas and it's pretty and green and luscious, and then there's like horses everywhere. It's like horse pastures. So apparently it is a southern state, but it's the horse South. It's like a plantation or a state.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by that. That was a very long-winded answer, but it is. It is the horse South. It is too pretty to be a true southern state. There's no dirtiness to it. So it's the horse South. It's like if a horse girl were a state.
Okay.
That's what I've decided. In my 5 hours of driving through it and my 24 hours of being in the west side of the state, it is if a horse girl were a state. Just a very strong statement if you've ever met a horse girl.
Yeah. So, actually, aren't you a horse girl?
I am not. So, I am not a horse girl. Because if you meet a horse girl, you go, oh, yeah, you a horse girl.
Yeah, but don't you love horses?
I do love horses. I think they're beautiful animals. I love them. I've ridden them in my lifetime. But my entire personality is not horses. You meet a horse girl. They are like, adult horse girls decorate their homes to look like barns on the inside.
Yes, that is true. I see
horse blankets as decoration.
I think that you were a baby horse girl though, because I have a very specific memory of like a how to draw horses book that you loved so much.
Okay, so to be fair, yes, I wanted to be a horse girl. I think it's more of what it was. I wanted to be a horse girl because I loved horses. I wanted to ride horses, and as all of you guys, again, if you are consistent listeners know, our parents were divorced and then my dad married her mom. And so I rode a horse named Martini when I would visit my mom. I got to ride horses, but when I was at my dad's house, I didn't get to ride horses because my dad didn't love me very much.
That's not true.
It's not true at all. I'm being dramatic. He loves me so much. But so I didn't get to ride horses when I was at home, and so I really wanted to be a horse girl, but I wasn't allowed to be a horse girl. Now as an adult, I realize riding horses is incredibly expensive, and it was a very wise decision for my parents to not let me ride horses. But so I would draw horses, and I would watch horse girl shows. Mm-hmm. Oh my God,
what was the name of that show?
If anyone remembers what this thing is called, I'm gonna have to Google it. But it
was early 2000s,
and they were young girls, and one of them had a British accent, I think.
Yeah.
One was blonde, and they had their horse barn, and it was all around them. And one of them got their appendix taken out. She was riding a horse on a trail, and she got really sick and turned out her appendix burst. It was all very dramatic. But anyways, I wanted to be a horse girl.
It was H2O, but not about mermaids.
Yes, it was the horse version of H2O.
Yeah.
God, I'll have to Google it now because I can't remember what it's called. It was so good.
You can Google it right now.
Okay, I'm going to Google it right now. That's the benefit of using, when I'm recording with Charli and I'm not separate here, and I'm on my phone, I can't do anything on my phone to interrupt the app recording it, or it just all
disappears. Yeah.
So
when you record in person, it's a lot different because it just goes straight to the computer and records. So you don't have to worry about having a virtual connection.
Horse girl TV show. The Saddle Club!
Oh yeah, the Saddle Club!
Saddle Club was from 2001 to 2009. I think it was based on a book.
Yeah, I think so. A Babysitter's Club vibe.
No, I don't have the IMDb app. I just want to open it and read about this now.
What does the description say?
Oh, it's not opening. Let's try again.
We're still here. Don't.
Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to. I got silent. I'm trying to. Google's not cooperating. Neither is this website. Okay. Oh, here we go. Adventures of a Girl's creator. Oh my God. Why is this? Okay, here is season 1, episode 20 description. When Carol and Stevie awaken comatose Lisa with the help of Prancer, the Pine Hollow friendly horse. A frenzy occurs to get Max and Deborah's wedding back on track. And Stevie and Phil finally admit they like each other.
I remember you being obsessed with this.
I remember
our parents, we had, what was it, Dish?
Yes, Dish Network.
We had Dish Network growing up.
People still use dishes to get TV.
Back in the day, before the internet changed TV, we had Dish Network growing up, and our parents really thought that they were smart because they had all of these channels that they didn't want us watching, like MTV or whatever. And so they just put together a list of channels that they liked, that they thought were approved, and then just had the general one unlocked. So we figured out how to change the list while our parents were gone. And I still, to this day, have the appropriate channels that we were supposed to be watching. The numbers are memorized in my head forever. Because as soon as we would hear our parents pull in the driveway, go out and change the menu back and change and go put 122 for sci-fi in,
and then recalled it and changed it again to make sure that if they had the recall, went to the right one. Yeah. So, I didn't think about that, and I think I would never think my kid is that stupid to not figure out how to work a remote. So, either, and I mean this in, the nicest way possible, either our parents had a lot of faith in us of being good kids, which is the first mistake, or they're morons.
We were good kids. We just watched channels that they didn't want us to watch.
We were
that's not a bad kid.
We were generally good kids. Compared to a lot of what my friends got into, we were very good kids. And we would also watch things like Charmed and stuff like that, which we weren't allowed.
We were allowed to watch that.
I thought we weren't allowed to watch it because it involved witches.
We weren't at first when we were young.
Okay, I was gonna say, so we could watch Charmed, but we couldn't watch Home Improvement?
Yeah, I don't know why we weren't allowed to watch Home Improvement.
I hate this world. Taylor Thomas was hot.
Yeah, anyway. That is true. And we weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons.
Yeah, which, as an adult, I watched that, and that tracks, actually, because The Simpsons is kind of a terrible show.
I've never watched it before. Still,
I've watched a couple episodes, and it's, for all you Simpsons fans, I apologize, but it's like the equivalent of SpongeBob. It's stupid.
I think I lost that, there's like a phase of time that you go through where you start to watch grown-up cartoons, and we weren't allowed to watch them, so I never went through that phase, so they just don't track for me. Like, I've never found one that I thought, oh, I want to watch this.
Same, because I've tried adult cartoons now as like a real adult, or like, I don't know, that's
Are we real adults?
As an adult. As a person over the age of 18, let me rephrase that. And like, I've tried American Dad, I've tried all the ones on Netflix, and they're just dumb. Like, they're not funny. Mm-mm. They're terrible. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I watched like Rocko's Modern Life and Cat Dog and Nickelodeon, which were also stupid. But like, I'm the same. I think there's a period where you get to, as a kid, watch an adult cartoon and that makes you like them. And if you skip that because your parents have good judgment and don't let you watch stupid adult cartoons, you don't like them as adults either. I'm like, I don't get this. This is not funny.
Yeah. So I never watched South Park. I never watched any of that. But we did get down with some Degrassi.
Love Degrassi. Actually, so I have a friend she is a single mom, and she has a son who's like probably 13 or 14 now, maybe 15. I don't really understand the age of children, I'm going to be honest. All of a sudden they're teenagers and I don't know what happens. But he found out that Drake was on Degrassi. And he was like, why is Drake in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
And she was like,
he's always Jimmy.
This is my moment. This is my moment to explain the importance of Jimmy. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I went into like an in-depth flow chart scenario about Jimmy and the context of why this was important and vital. And now he's invested in Degrassi and has started watching it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that you've done your job as a mother.
We feel like we were on the edge of like modernism by watching Degrassi.
And I really wanted to wear a thong showing above my pants because what's her name?
What was her name? Paige?
Paige wore one. And I was like, I want to be Paige.
Yeah. I remember that face of you wanting to be Paige
so bad.
I was there.
And then the girl that like cut herself that was like kind of emo, and she had like the sleeves and stuff and like the plaid skirt.
Was it Allie?
I don't remember her name.
The one that was dating Jimmy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And she like worked at the recording studio.
Yes, and I wanted to be her.
Did I grow up to be her? Because I have a podcast.
You did.
But I don't have self-harm urges.
No, you don't have self-harm urges. But I also bought the tiniest plaid skirt from Hot Topic.
Oh, I remember that
for that, and it did not cover anything. And I hid it in the trunk of my car when I was 17. And then when we went to the mall before our youth group, pretending that we had to be there early, I wore it in the mall, and I was so scared I was going to get caught by someone who knew our parents.
Oh my gosh, that opens a whole door of like things that we would do to avoid getting caught. I have one specific memory that pops into my mind is because we had to share a cell phone. So from like the age of 14 to 17 when you left for college, basically, or no, 14 to 16.
16 because
got your own phone.
I got my own phone, and then I was paying for it. Mm-hmm. And then I got my own contract as soon as I turned 18, so I could start texting.
Yeah, because our parents wouldn't let us text.
No, it was ridiculous. But so this is terrible to admit, we were really good liars. Like, really good liars.
I don't think that I am. I think I just omit the truth.
I'm let me phrase it then. I'm a really great liar. And we got away with so much. And we would make stuff up all the time because our parents were strict. Like, they were the kind of strict parents, like, if you had fun on a Monday, that was the only fun you had for the rest of the week. And so if we wanted to do things with our friends, we would make things up. Like, we had to be at youth group an hour early because we had a meeting. Because we were, like, part of youth group planning stuff. And that's not what was happening. And we would just go to someone's house and do stupid stuff. Or, like, drive around town and pretend we were cool.
Or, okay, so here's the one that came to mind for me. So we shared a cell phone from... it must have been in the window that you were 16. I was 16 because I was allowed to go out with boys, and we weren't allowed to go out with boys until we were 16 in our house. So you must have been 18 and I must have been 16. Yes. And you wanted to go out with your boyfriend, and they let you go out with your boyfriend she's 18 years old, guys, just by the way.
But I was living at home, so there is the argument that if you're living under someone's roof, you have to follow the rules.
So they let her go out with her boyfriend if I went. And so I found someone that would go with me when she would go with her boyfriend, and we would call it a double date or whatever. And so I remember there was one specific time that we were all, like, the part of the rules of us, like, going on this double date is that we all had to ride in the same car. But we would break that rule all the time, and it wouldn't be a problem as long as, because this is before GPS tracking and stuff, it wouldn't be a problem as long as our parents didn't call us in the time that we were separated, because we were going to the same place. So if we all met up in the parking lot and I got in one car and she got in another car, it was... I wish you could see Victoria's face right now. Okay. Oh my god. So this memory is, like, just so ingrained in my head, and I think about it sometimes. So there was one time that so we meet up in the parking lot. I get in one car, she gets in the other car. It's fine as long as our parents don't call us in the middle of this. And mind you, we lived an hour away from civilization. So we had a curfew that we had to be home by 10 o'clock. So we would have to leave at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon and go. And then we would get to, like, the movie theater or the bowling alley or whatever at 6. And then we would do whatever we were going to do until like 8. And then we would have to start heading home. So we were like driving and so our parents would oftentimes just stay home while we were out. But we were constantly worried that they were going to decide to go to town at the same time and see us in different cars. However, they didn't know what cars our boyfriend was driving, and Victoria was supposed to be the one driving, so they didn't know till they would be looking for the car that we drove instead of our boyfriend's cars. And so it worked out. We had a whole plan. Anyway, so it would work out as long as our parents didn't call us. So I remember this one time we were driving and we're like, our parents are home. We're in different cars. If something happens, my boyfriend is supposed to call her boyfriend. And, well, he wasn't my boyfriend, but it was her boyfriend. Anyway, the guy that I was with was supposed to call her boyfriend. And then we were supposed to meet up in a parking lot, and then we could, like, be on the phone together at the same time so we wouldn't get in trouble. This is how elaborate we were thinking. We were, like, rules don't teach you anything except for how to elaborately get around them. That's the lesson I learned from my childhood.
There's a loophole for everything. That's the lesson I learned, is you can figure out how to get around any rule.
So I remember I was the one in charge of having the phone, and I was with the guy that I was with in my car, and Victoria was with her boyfriend in her car, and we were driving an hour away in the town we were, like, at, going to the movie theater or whatever we were doing. And all of a sudden our parents call, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. I need you to call him right now. So he calls her boyfriend. And he's like, what are we supposed to do? And I was like, I don't know. We need to find them and get them in a parking lot right now. Because I knew that I had, like, the amount of time that it takes for 2 calls to go missed. And then I would be in big trouble. Mm-hmm. So I was like, we finally found you. And you had not picked up your phone. And I was like, I think I was, like, waving like a madman or something. I just remember screaming out the window, pull over right now! And then, like, I, like, just threw the phone through the window and just, like, you caught it and picked it up, and I just, like, jumped out of the car. Is this what you remember?
Yes, I don't remember quite exactly. I do remember in my mind, the car was still moving when you threw the phone at me. Like, we were pulling in and you just chucked it. And it was like, by a miracle, it went through the window of my car. I think it's who I think I was dating at that time.
You only dated one person in high school, really?
Well, yes. Well, I don't even know we were dating at that time. It was, it was on and off again. It's fine. We both found our place later in life. But it was like a small miracle that person, like, caught the phone.
Yeah.
And it was even something stupid. Like, whatever they called us for.
Okay, so then they called us and they were calling to tell us that they were coming to town. So we were like, we have to avoid all the parts of town that they usually go to.
Oh, yeah. Our parents are not fun parents, as you can probably tell. They're, like, not a good time. They're a good time if you... Well, let me phrase this. My dad's a good time if you want to do things like blow things up in your yard.
Yeah.
But if you want to have, like, normal, like, everyday fun that doesn't involve violence, silence...
that requires money to do...
He's not very
He's
fun.
not going to do it.
No, he's not fun. I'm also convinced that he might be on the spectrum, but that's an entirely different conversation. But anyways, yeah, that was that was funny. We had a lot of those scenarios. And then we would do a lot of like, my favorite thing is, okay, so when we were in high school, we did concurrent enrollment. Mm-hmm. Which means you're taking college classes for high school credit. It's not like AP where you like have to take a test and you might get half a college credit. Whatever you take, because it's through the community college, counts towards your high school degree, but also counts as college credit. You just have to pass your exams like any other college student. And so we would go to the community college and I would skip class all the time, drive an hour and a half away to my friend's house and just hang out there and then go back. And because our parents thought we were in class, it was never questioned. I think I went to maybe 5 of my college classes. Passed everything. It was great. Mm-hmm. But, like, I think I only went to 5 of my classes. And everyone did that, though. Or, like, we all hung out in the parking lot.
Or in that student lounge and played
pool.
I played so much pool and ping pong.
And we also brought our DDR game and threw.
Yeah, we did.
Everyone skipped class that day.
I forgot about that.
Oh, I don't know his name, which is fine because we try not to name names, and I'm really bad about that. But what's his name? Like the larger gentleman who got into DDR.
Oh, I don't remember.
You know what I'm talking about, though. He was like your epitome of like Virginia backwoods redneck
who is like on the line on the football team.
Yeah, like he's like a linebacker really and he's like bigger. He's got cowboy boots.
I don't remember that guy's name, but I know what he looks like. Yeah. And it's like one word, like Buck. But it's not Buck.
No, that was a different friend.
That was a different friend.
It's
like one word. I can't remember.
He'd have like a name like Bubba or something, but it wasn't Bubba.
Yeah.
He was cool.
We'll call him Bubba.
Bubba was cool. But this man, we did play DDR. And like everyone skipped classes that day because we set it up in the student lounge. Mm-hmm. And like it was just a rotating group of people playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was the weird homeschooling kid that brought their PlayStation with their DDR to the student lounge at community college.
Really cool about community college is most everyone there is a weird homeschool kid.
Yeah, that was so nice. Because like I had at that point, because we went to college when we were 16. That was just like, you had to graduate high school and go to college by the time you were 16 in our family. That's what everybody did.
I like just to pretend we're actually really, really smart. That's what I tell myself. Not that our parents just didn't want to teach us.
Isn't there that like quote from Euphoria or whatever? She's like, that's the thing about confidence is it's 99% fake or whatever. And nobody knows if it's real.
That's probably
I can't remember what. I'm butchering that quote for sure, but it's like something like that. And so I feel like that's what our entire education was, is like, just walk in a room and act like you know what you're talking about and people will believe you. And that's pretty much got us through it. At least it got me through it.
Fun fact, if you do that for your entire life, that's what everybody who's successful in their career is doing, is they're just hoping they have like one sentence more knowledge about what's being talked about in the room. That's actually what my college professor told me. He's like, you don't have to be the smartest in the room. You just have to know one sentence more than everybody else, and everyone will assume you're the expert. And all you have to know is 5 sentences about that topic. But as long as it's 5 sentences more than everyone else, you're the one in charge. And I was like, so what you're telling me is I don't really actually need to try that hard. And he was like, yes. And he was the chair of his department. So take that for what that's worth. Okay. But that time in community college was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We had people who pretended they were street racers. They were not.
Yeah, they were not.
There was that one dude that's super obsessed with me and then got upset that I was friends with that other dude and still doesn't acknowledge that.
Oh, the one with the ponytail?
No, he is still obsessed with me. He still messages me years later, like every once in a while. He's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, Bruh. He was really, so, okay. I'll clarify this. That gentleman was so hot when we were in community college. Community college, okay? He was ripped. He was a soccer player. He was super smart.
If her male type, if she has a male type, it's soccer player.
It turns out that's also my female type. Every girl I've ever dated has also been a soccer player.
Well, that's great to know. You just like soccer, I guess.
Soccer players. I like really strong people who apparently have really nice legs. I don't know. But anyways, he also, we're not naming names, so I don't feel bad saying this. He also was the biggest drug dealer at the time in our county. It was just pot, so it wasn't a big deal. But dated him. So much fun. He got like into veganism and like that kind of stuff in college and turned into like the equivalent of a Pilates girl for a man. So I saw him again as an adult and I was like, oh yeah, let's revisit this fling. Fantastic. He was super hot. He was incredibly smart. Kind of like that sarcastic frat boy attitude a little bit, but he was actually intelligent, so it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
He was smaller than me.
Oh no!
He was like a skeleton, and
that's
it was
not
like,
good.
I don't know. I can't do this. I'm like, I can. I don't even want to like make out with you. Like it's like making out with a stick. It's like in Bug's Life. I'm the only stick with eyeballs. Anyways, so that was very unfortunate, but it was a good time. Definitely made out in the grass in the parking lot at that community college a couple times.
And there was a point when we went to that community college where both of our boyfriends also went to that community college.
Yes, we never went to class then either. And both of our boyfriends were friends.
Yeah, our boyfriends were best friends.
Super convenient.
Actually, this is irreverent, but unfortunately they both have deceased now. Which is so sad. We miss them.
I do not mean to laugh.
It's sad, but yeah.
Okay, so context. They were so much fun. I have so much love for both of them. And that my boyfriend of the two happened to also be the nephew of a person who's very, very close to me and who I love dearly. And he was such a good kid. He was one of those kids that thought he was a street racer that wasn't, and they both were. But if you knew them, it wouldn't seem so irreverent and disrespectful, because the fact that both of them have passed in the way that they did kind of...
They were on a path.
They were on a path, and it's on a path they were doing together a little bit. And so they also probably would have laughed at their outcomes, which sounds so bad. I'm so sorry. It sounds so bad. But we do love them both and have so much respect for both of them and have so much love in our hearts for them still.
They helped us through a time in our life that we needed them. They came in
they came in the right time.
They came in our life in the right time, and they put us on a path that like I credit, like I have mental health issues, but they could have been so much worse if my life had just taken like 2 steps different.
Oh yeah. One of the things I really loved about dating that guy.
We should give him a fake name.
Why do I
Billy
want to say Bob when someone says great a fake name?
we picked Billy.
Billy. So dating Billy. One of the things I loved about dating Billy is because his this person and also this person in my life, his aunt was like a second mother figure for me.
And me too. We were both raised.
It was
his aunt raised us.
His aunt raised us in a lot of ways. And Billy, so hard. Billy taught me a lot about being okay with myself in a lot of ways, like being okay with making mistakes and being a disappointment. Growing up in our household, there was a lot of like, you had to earn love in our household, and you didn't have to do that with them. You could just be stupid and make stupid mistakes and do stupid things and just have fun and not worry about the consequences. And it taught me that you cannot worry about the consequences, and it doesn't mean something bad is going to happen. And they helped alleviate, I think, a lot of anxiety At least for me, dating him helped leave a lot of anxiety in my life and taught me to push some boundaries to determine what was right for me, which sounds like super dramatic. But like when you're 16, 17, 18 years old, you're trying to figure out a lot about yourself. And when you're doing that in a very religious environment, we've talked about it, like basically a religious cult environment, it's every decision feels catastrophic.
For the rest of eternity.
For like the rest of eternity, because every decision is going to impact whether or not you're going to heaven and your eternal life and your eternal spouse. And every little thing is just crushing, and has so much stress and so much anxiety attached to it, including who you're dating at 16 years old, and you kissed too early, you did something against God. It's such a big deal. And for Billy and his friend, it was like, I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, it's not that serious. And it took a huge weight off of my shoulders being 16, 17, 18 years old to make the mistake, to go over the speed limit, to kiss in the parking lot, to like push kind of those really minuscule boundaries. Like I look back and I'm like, okay, that was not that big a deal. Making out with my boyfriend at home when my parents were gone, like felt like this huge thing. And not as serious. But those are all things that they created a space because they were like, bruh,
it's going to be fine.
It's going to be fine. And I definitely agree. I credit like being in a much healthier adult because of that. So they were a huge part of our lives, and they still are. It was really sad actually when I found out that they both passed. I cried a little bit, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I did too. It was real sad.
It was real sad. I'm not happy now.
There's one, you want to give my boyfriend a fake name?
If we're gonna have a Billy, let's do Rob.
Okay. So, my main memory with Rob, like, that, like, kind of shaped me, is that, like, I remember there was one time you had already gone off to college, and I got in a really terrible car accident. Yeah. And not one of my friends, like, came to check on me, but, like, as soon as Rob found out about it, he drove 3 hours to our house and, like, beat down the door and was like, "Are you okay?" And, like, literally, my mom answered the door, and he just, like, walked in and was like, "Where is she?"
Something happened.
And my mom was just like, "What is going on?" And she was like, "Is that your boyfriend?" I was like, "No, he's not my boyfriend anymore. We don't do that anymore." But she's like, "Well, then why is he here?" I was like, "I don't know. He just really cares about me."
Yeah, they both were actually terrible.
Yeah, they're not good boyfriends.
They were not good
boyfriends.
But they were great people.
Yeah, they were great people to teach us lessons.
Yes, they were great people. Terrible boyfriends.
Yeah.
But that would track. That was the both of them, and especially Rob. Rob loves you. But very, very strongly emotional guys.
Yeah.
And just very caring, very considerate. Hot messes, but
ridiculous.
Ultimately good, wonderful people. And that was one thing that was really interesting, because when you're growing up in the environment we did, in a lot of really weird ways, in growing up in our environment, there was a lot of things that you didn't see. Everyone was very cookie cutter, growing up in a religious cult. And then our parents...
Well, not only that, but there was icing on top of it. Like, we were in a religious cult, but then on top of that, our parents had a very different way of parenting.
Yes.
Like, on top of that. So, like, for example, we had assigned favorite colors.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, it was weird. Listen, you know what? They make the choices that they can. But because of that, the type of people you're exposed to are like pretty much the same to some extent. And so it was dating them kind of showed you that you could be problematic and difficult and all these things, but also still a really good person. Because in our parents' world, had they known like who these kids actually were, they would have been like, absolutely not. And they would have probably demonized them to some extent, right? Like Billy dipped and drank, and had they known that about him, he would have been like, oh my God, he's terrible, right? But he did those things, and he did these things that our parents taught us were sins and bad people, but they were fundamentally good people. And so they were a great way to expose us to, you can be more than one thing and still be a good person. Yeah. Right? And you can be a good person. You can do all the good things and still be a bad person. Like, the surface doesn't mean shit, basically. And they were great to teach us that lesson as well. A very safe way to teach us that lesson. Yeah. Because it could have been way worse.
Oh, man. That's crazy to think about. We were wild. And I am just so grateful that we lived in a generation where we didn't have our whole lives on the internet. Oh, thank God. And we would not have been able to make any of the progress that we made. Like, I'm just telling you, the universe, like, put it out in just the perfect timing.
I feel for the kids this day and age where everything's on the internet, because let me tell you, you're going to regret seeing your stupid out for the world to consume, because we did some stupid. I've got to get on to this. So we've talked about this, the external drives that we have, like all our photos from high school and stuff. I should have brought mine. It's like in a basket.
Do you have your laptop?
I do, but I should have brought the one that I have that I don't have a cord for. So I have my external hard drive I don't have a cord for, so I can't access it.
I probably have a cord for it.
I know. I should have brought it with me. There is a picture somewhere, and it actually might be on yours too, of a party we threw on our 3rd floor of our house. At this house our parents renovated. We've talked about it before. It's not that fancy. Where I am sitting on the toilet in a yellow halter top.
I just pictured it.
No pants on, because Charlie and our best friend at the time decided to bust up in the bathroom in the middle of this house party and take a photo. Yeah. Also, that is the first time, what's his name and I kissed? What's a name that rhymes with his name?
No, don't do a rhyme that name that rhymes. Tell me what he looks like.
Tall, skinny, was best friends with a guy I dated for a little while that, like, hated me because,
yeah.
We'll call him James. I really hope none of these are their middle names.
You have the same haircut.
We did have the same haircut.
Victoria made out with a dude that had the same haircut as her. And it was because, this opens a whole
First of all, my haircut was actually styled after Posh Spice. When she had that haircut, his haircut was after, what's his name from AFI? But
Davey Havoc. Remember when you were obsessed with AFI?
He's a beautiful man, even now. He's gorgeous, for the record. Also, my obsession with Posh Spice and the Spice Girls might have been my first sign that I was bisexual, because that I thought I wanted to be them. That was not what it was. I just thought
her name is hot. Victoria too. I always thought there was some like reason why you liked it, because you were like, I could be like her because my name's Victoria.
Yeah, no, I just think I thought she was hot. Yeah. That's one thing you learn when you kind of accept your sexuality as an adult, is you kind of look back in hindsight and you go, I thought that girl was so cool, I was obsessed with her. And then you realize it's not because you thought they were cool, it's because you had a crush and you just didn't know what that meant when they were the same gender as you. So hindsight's 20/20.
Yep.
That was why I was obsessed with Sporty Spice on the Spice Girls. Also probably a soccer player.
She probably was a soccer player. You are also obsessed with Bend It Like Beckham.
I was obsessed with Bend It Like Beckham, and I was obsessed with Stick It, which is everyone's lesbian awakening, let me tell you. If you have not seen the scene of the girl in Stick It, where she's like the gymnast and she's getting out of that ice bath, then you just don't know. Go watch it, and that'll let you know whether or not you're a lesbian of any kind, because she's hot. That's the screening tool.
Okay.
That scene and Stick It.
I just think it's funny that when you made us watch Bend It Like Beckham so many times, and then you have now figured out that your type is soccer players.
Literally every girl I have ever dated, even the ones I've like made out with on nights out, have all been soccer players. Not like really pretty soccer players, but they are soccer players. I still occasionally stalk my first girlfriend. Just to see.
Oh, yeah. She was a soccer player.
She was a soccer player.
Maybe she went on to be, like, a professional player.
Yes, she was. She was a professional soccer player. I don't know what she does now, but...
Anyway.
Who knows?
So, there's that.
I feel like every time you and I have an episode, it's, like, community trauma.
Welcome to that it's okay. We have funny stories.
Should have like a trigger warning for the sister episodes.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Any other funny stories come to mind?
I have a really funny story. Okay. This doesn't actually involve us. I mean, it does involve us, but it really involves our best friend at the time, which we will call,
I think,
Lily.
Okay.
So we were a trio growing up. So when you grow up in the Mormon church, you have missionaries. And missionaries are strongly encouraged to do dinners at members' houses for, cost-saving purposes and keeping them in the loop and in the cult and continuing to encourage the drinking of the Kool-Aid. And for them to, like, practice their missionary lessons on members who aren't going to be like, bro, that's crazy. So they're usually girls and men in between 19 and 23 years old. And all of them, not all of them, but there's always hot ones, right? It's 20-year-old dudes. They're going to be attractive. And you're 14, 15, 16 years old. You're going to have crushes on them. It happens every time. It is like a coming-of-age story of Mormonism. Our best friend, Lily, was not Mormon. I think she was Catholic.
No, she's Episcopalian.
I'm sorry, Episcopalian. Always hung out with us. Got a crush on one of our missionaries to the point that this girl voluntarily put herself through the missionary lessons so she could convince this dude to make out with her. No matter how we actually told her, it ain't gonna happen. Mm-hmm. She went through the Mormon mission lessons, the missionary lessons, and then got stalked, because that's what we do, for like years afterwards from the church, sending other missionaries to her house, all because she had a teenage crush at 14 years old for a 21-year-old missionary.
Yep, that happens.
One of my favorite. That's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, I think he was from Brazil or something.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember what he looked like.
There's a picture somewhere on a hard drive.
There is. Oh. So, speaking of, I was 19, getting ready to go to BYU, and a missionary who was almost done with his mission and I hit it off and started flirting, and we started writing to each other. Do you remember this?
No.
So we wrote to each other, and we wrote to each other for like 6 or 7 months. And then he was looking to apply to BYU Hawaii to come to school with me. Like, I thought we were going to date.
Did he?
No. So here's what happened. I get this letter from him, and he's like, I can't write to you anymore. My mission president or mission whatever thinks that I'm not focused enough on my mission. I'm supposed to leave in 3 months, and I need to really focus, and he's actually discouraging me from applying to BYU Hawaii because of you.
What?
And so then he ended up going to BYU Idaho. I don't remember his name. I still have these letters. Every once in a while, I'll pull out the letters and try to stalk him on the internet to see if he still exists. But
he went to BYU Idaho. Like, that's the
worst one. The worst one. If someone says, I went to BYU Idaho, they are like IVing the Kool-Aid into their bodies. They have like a permanent like IV in their arm because they're so into it, because you can't wear flip-flops there. You have to go to school in like class in dresses and like church clothes. Mm-hmm. It is insane. It is the worst one, and it's winter.
And everybody gets married the quickest at that one.
At the absolute quickest.
You get married like 3 weeks after knowing somebody.
Terrible. I think he did get married in like 3 weeks. But we did. We had a nice little letter affair for like 6 months. And I don't remember. I think his name was Joey. But I don't remember his last name.
I do not remember this at all.
He was hot too. But it was, yeah. So I did. I almost had a missionary. It was interesting. Yeah.
Well, interesting. Can
you imagine? Can you imagine who I would be as a person if that's what happened to me? I would have ruined his life. Yeah. He would no longer be a member of the church.
Maybe he's not. He's our age, so.
That's true. There's a high probability he has left the church already on his own. But yeah, that was a thing.
Well, anyway. That seems like a pretty good place to say pause. Is there anything you wanted to say that you didn't get to say today?
No, I don't think so. I wasn't exactly expecting to record a podcast.
I know. Okay, here's what happened. and I have worked 12-hour days the last 2 days, and I have to get back up in the morning at 5 in the morning so I can get to work at 6 in the morning tomorrow. And tomorrow is Saturday, and it's Friday night. And I was walking down the hallway, and I was like, it's Friday night, and I didn't set up a recording. Do you want to record an episode? And she said, yeah, sure, sounds great. And I said, great, thanks. You're saving my butt, because it's like 9:40 at night, and I have to get up at 5 in the morning so that I can run an event.
And that is how I was my series regular today. But, yes.
It was supposed to be Kenzie's first week. Sorry, Kenzie. We'll do next week.
I love Kenzie.
Yeah. Oh, tell her about the sandwich.
Oh my gosh.
Tell everyone about the sandwich.
So tell you guys about the sandwich. And this isn't, listen, everyone knows me to be very dramatic. This is not dramatic. This is a life-changing sandwich. So, for context, and this doesn't exist anymore, Charli and I both went to BYU Hawaii. There was a place called Seaside Cafe, which is the cafe that's attached to the cafeteria where you could get like faster food to go.
It's a student grill. It's nothing exciting.
They had the best sandwiches I've ever had in my entire life. They have this like herbed bread. It's like soft and flaky.
It's all homemade.
It's all homemade bread. It's like homemade ingredients. You could
homemade sauces.
You like all like everything you could ever want. You could get like sprouts on your sandwich. It was like they were the best sandwiches you're gonna ever have in your entire life. I've never had a sandwich like it.
The pieces of bread were like the size of like.
They're huge.
Yeah.
These were like super sized. These are like
cookie sheets. They were giant.
Giant. And you could eat like half your sandwich and still be like full 5 hours later. And they were, so good. I've never had a sandwich as good as one. So today I leave my sister's house and I'm driving to visit my parents, to see my parents. And I pass this like bakery and I'm like, oh my God, that place is so cute. So then on my way home, I'm like, Charli, is this place any good? Like, I'm not going to stop at a bakery and be disappointed. And she's like, it's amazing. And they're the sandwiches that are the closest to the cafe sandwiches. And I'm like, no. And she's like, yes. And I'm like, no. And she's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously I have to go now. So it is the best sandwich in the world. Oh my God. I was so excited. It is so good. The bread is soft. It's like an Amish bakery. It's amazing. So I post the sandwich on my Instagram and Kenzie immediately goes, is this the Amish sandwich? I've never thought so much about a sandwich in my life. It is weird. It is so good sandwich. It is life-changing. It's amazing.
If you come visit me, I'll take you to the sandwich place and it'll change your life.
It is a life-changing sandwich and it is that good. It is that good.
So on that note, like, share, follow, go to sleepoverpod.com and send us messages. Do your best to love each other, and thank you for listening, and thank you for being a follower, and you guys are the best. Okay, love you, bye. Do you want to say love you, bye?
Love you, bye.